Dead School News.
Dead School? Let's talk about Star Wars. Alright, so you want to know why Star Wars decided to move Solo to May instead of December? Even though they knew that it would be a monumental mistake and that everybody was pissed about The Last Jedi and that there was no hope for the movie if they did this? Well, let's find out. So in order to get to the beginning of this, you have to know that The Force Awakens was originally going to be a summer release. And then every Star Wars was going to be a summer release. But then they decided they had to push that back to December. So then everything was coming out on a Christmas release. Well, they decided probably that they wanted to go ahead and move that back to May, and something had to end up on the chopping block. They picked a movie, Solo, that they already knew was doomed, and let's see what they did. Now, if you release this movie in May, look what happens. All these other blockbusters are around. You could say that Solo's not doing good because Avengers is out. You can say that Solo's not doing good because Deadpool is out. You could say that Solo's not doing good because it's Memorial Day weekend. You can say, what are the odds that you would choose to release a movie on the worst movie releasing weekend of the year? It really doesn't make a lot of sense unless, you're just trying to sweep things under the rug. Because if you release this movie in December, when it doesn't have a lot of competition, you know what happens? Then the movie comes out and it's very terrible, and everyone talks about Star Wars movies over and over and over again. That's all people talk about when they come out. So if there's no competition, then literally that's all people are going to talk about. And if the movie's terrible and it had a very huge production budget and there was just all this terrible stuff happening behind the scenes, then you better believe that that's all people are going to be talking about. But what is everybody talking about right now? How good Avengers is. How Avengers is about to reach $2 billion. How good Deadpool is. How Deadpool is not going to make as much as the first one, but it's still doing really, really good. Come and see Deadpool. The boycott is still going strong, but people are, this movie was adequate. It wasn't a complete failure. It didn't actively try to piss you off like The Last Jedi did. So no one's sitting there really, going on about it like they were before the movie came out. Everybody knows, it was meh. It kind of sucks. Kind of all right. Whatever. All you proved is that you can make a semi-competent Star Wars movie, finally. Nowhere near where we need to be, but at least, we went from like a 0 to a 5 from The Last Jedi. God. F you, Ruin Johnson. You're never going to work again, man. Just going to be making music videos for the rest of the time, recording people's weddings. So good luck with all that. I hope it was worth it. I think you overshot your plan there of making 50% of the audience hate it when 75% of the audience hated it, and now you're screwed. Now you're doing Star Wars, and I don't know if everybody was planning on that when they hired you to be their little lapdog. So all of the word of mouth about this movie being bad is completely not being highlighted as much as it would. Star Wars, Solo would have nothing to blame if it came out at Christmas. All you could have is that it was the Christmas Day weekend, but then there would be no excuse. There's the Christmas break. There's no break. It was just a 4-day weekend for Memorial Day. So there's tons and tons of excuses. And this way, it just blends in, it's meh, and you can just sweep it under the rug. So no one's really paying attention to it. So that's exactly why they knew that the movie was going to fail no matter what. They knew they had a terrible movie. They knew that everybody was going to hate it. And they decided to move it up instead of getting a lot of publicity for it. And now it's just being swept under the rug. And so now they can continue to try to hold on just a tiny bit longer and destroy these movies as long as they can before they get all this power taken away from them. So, F you Ryan Johnson, F you Kathleen Kennedy. The boycott continues. Boycott Solo. Boycott episode 9 until the changes happen, until Kathleen Kennedy is fired, until we get our apologies. I know I'm not a racist and I'm not a sexist, and I didn't need to be told twice. But you don't have to take my word on it. I've been given permission from Ryan LaPlante to play this clip from the Garbage Town podcast.
Finish the movie in post. But by that we mean just make a new movie, finish that, repost it, and then finish it again. And then they shifted the release date as they were doing this. It was supposed to be another December release. Star Wars was always going to be December, but they jumped it forward to now.
What's replacing it? The Boba Fett one?
They're not doing a Star Wars movie. This is this year's Star Wars film.
Huh.
I think they didn't want to have a big drop in box office, so they released it early so that it would have the numbers would get skewed and play differently. That's my guess.
That's a weird. I figured like you'd make a lot more releasing in December than near Avengers and
However,
Deadpool.
but the other thing is, it sort of ends up blending in if it's just medium.
All right.
Because the other ones have all been huge critical things. They're all anybody talks about for a month.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have this disastrous a production, you don't want
People
a lot
talking
of
about
press
it or looking at
about
it?
the fucked up production. You just want the film to be out.
Right.
Weird.
So yeah, that got released.
If you like this video, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll be back soon. Dead School, signing off.